Hi, this is Tom Mira from World Class Coaching with another animated drill. And now this is a possession exercise that I actually prefer much more than just a general play two teams with a couple of neutral players possession exercise. The reason I like it is it's much more position specific. It also gets the players thinking about how they would connect in a real game situation rather than just playing a non-directional possession game that you're just trying to connect the dots. Perhaps you're working a bit on shape around the ball, creating a right, left, and split opportunity and kind of reshaping that as the ball moves around the field. I suppose there's a place for that, but I think this type of possession drill transfers much more easily into the real game than just the generic non-directional possession game that so many of us play. And this is set up as a 4v4 plus 3. So we have two teams of 4 inside the area plus 3 neutral players, one on each end, and then one neutral player in the center as well. I've set this up as an area that is 20 yards wide by 30 yards long. Now you can make that bigger for perhaps less experienced players. You want to give them a bit more room to deal with. If you've got much older players, maybe you want to give them more room just in terms of just having enough physical space to move around in. I like this as a starting point and then adjusting from there. I don't think you can make it much smaller than this without really cramping the space everybody has to work in. I like this size because it also demands, quick combinations and, being able to play out of tight spaces quickly, which I think is really important. So, squeezing it a bit, but not so much that it's not realistic is the reason I like these dimensions. So the way I'll start this exercise is I'd be over here on the side with the ball and with extras as well. So just for the sake of description, we'll go ahead and put a coach here on the outside as well, watching the activity. And so, that's important to take up a good position so you can kind of see what's going on in the game, and we'll put the coach in white here. And so the coach would have a single ball that they're going to serve in, but also have multiple extra soccer balls that they can easily get into the game because there'll be a lot of loss of possession in this game. So you want to make sure to keep the game flowing that you can constantly play a new ball into the practice. And so what I'll do is I'll just play a ball randomly into the space and allow the players to fight over it. Whoever wins that ball first, their goal now is to try to reach the nearest neutral player that they can. So let's say the defender was in the way here and they couldn't do that. Then what we'll have is we'll have these outside players open up and be able to connect so that we can get the ball from here and then to the neutral player at the end. And this is where the game really takes its shape. And so what we want is we want the players opening up wide here, creating good angles. We want the players at this end to then stagger and realize that they've got a neutral player in the center. So we want them to stagger their space. We don't want both of the neutral players here. We certainly don't need them right up here doing the same job as that central neutral player. So we want them, taking up spaces here and then maybe a bit longer here in order to stretch the defense. And so what we'll have, and I'll just, we'll flip this around a little bit. Maybe we'll take these out for the time being since the ball's at this end, and we'll add the yellow team now has 4 players, and their job obviously is to then try to win the ball back. The black team's job is can they possess the ball and work it down the field in a way that they can connect with this other neutral player, whether it be through the neutral here and then connecting with their teammate on the outside before finding the neutral at the far end. And that would be 1 point for the team in possession. If they if that's not available because these defenders open up wide, well, then the simplest pass is, finding that splitting pass to this central midfield type player who can then penetrate directly through. So there's nothing wrong with that. We want to be able to play those passes because it'll keep these defenders honest. Otherwise, these defenders, if they don't ever have to worry about that splitting pass, can just sit on these outside players and make it possible to, make it impossible, I should say, to really connect passes going down the field, make it much more difficult. So you have to allow this ball to be played through all neutral players. So then what the defenders are going to do is they're going to take up positions kind of similar to this so that they're taking away that splitting pass and then able to pressure the ball. So if the ball goes wide, now this player is obviously flipping coming out to pressure the ball. This player is going to open up to the outside, creating a pass down the line. The defender is going to come closer here, trying to split it. This defender is probably going to come over as well and try to create some numbers in this area. Now, if that happens and we can't go forward, let's just say that defender makes it over quick and pretty much cuts that pass off, then I want the ball to be recycled back to open up the game again. So now we force the defenders to protect the middle. We keep these players open. We have these staggered because we don't know which side the ball is going to be played to. That forces the defenders on the far side to stay honest. And I really encourage the players to spread out in this manner. We don't want to have attackers coming into this side of the field and clogging up this space. We want them spreading this space out. All right, and this is going to be not unlike what we're going to see in game situations where we've got let's say a holding midfielder here playing to an attacking midfielder, to advancing, outside backs that are coming, to, wide forwards that are here, to a center forward. So we have a similar shape that we might see in a 4-3-3. But these diamonds and triangle shapes aren't unique just to the 4-3-3. Pretty much any formation you're looking to create these kind of diamonds and triangles to connect players. So now when the ball is passed back and forth and recycled from one side to the other, we can go over all the coaching points, having this player having their hips open to the field, having this central player always having shoulders pointed at each end of the field so that their body is open, so they can receive this ball on their back foot and play easily out then to the neutral player on the far side, or be able to play wide to this player, or perhaps this defensive player has then advanced and we can connect with them and allowing this player to go up a bit wider and create angles here. So we can talk about body position. We can talk about, taking their first touch in the direction they want to play. So if this player receives it, can they take their first touch in this direction so they can play positively, if at all possible? If they can't play positive, then they can always recycle it back, open up, and we start again, creating that attacking patience while trying to connect the passes and get forward. Now, if the defending team wins it off of a forced pass, an errant pass, then their job is the same as the black team's job was at the beginning of this. Their job is to get it to the nearest neutral player. So if they intercepted from this neutral, they could just pass right back here. And then their job is to get wide, open up, all right, and we would get rid of these players, obviously, and face them in the other direction, because now they're defending. So now the black players have got to defend the middle while the yellow players get wide, try to stretch the space, try to be staggered here so that it forces the defenders into positions where we've got enough space that we can play around them instead of having to play through them. So perhaps this player comes wider here, perhaps they stay here, forcing that player inside. And so now we've got that same shape going, for the yellow team, and they're trying to connect their passes, get the ball up the line if possible, connect through the center midfielder in an effort to then get the ball to this far neutral at the end. Now, that's important that this neutral player can move anywhere up and down this line that they need to in order to create those passing angles. So this player on the far side is able to move up and down. Now, when I'm setting this up, I'll often have the goalkeeper as one of the neutral players on the end, and I'll often have a center forward play as the neutral on one of the other ends, getting them used to and getting them thinking about finding those gaps in the defense and staying high up the pitch in order to connect the team. Obviously, this player is going to be your creative center midfielder, whether it be, a number 9, number 10, or perhaps a number 8 or a number 6 is going to depend. I mean, you can rotate it through those. If you have a holding midfielder that's possessing the ball quite a lot, then you're going to want to play the ball in, to that player. So you might have it be your number 6 that's coming back here to check in. Could be, then rotating every so often to give your number 8 an opportunity and your number 10 an opportunity to kind of play in these areas as well and connect together, which they'll obviously do. So I'll do that. Obviously, these would be your outside backs. You've got these as your number 11 and your number 7 up top. And then, as we said before, your forward. So you can do this very position specific. specific so that all the players are playing in roles that are similar to what they're going to do in the game. So as I said, I really prefer this game to just a non-directional possession game, because not only are you training possession and angles and support and first touch and all those things, you're also doing it within a format that the players are going to see in the game so that they can have that good transfer of training from this possession game into the actual match on the weekend. So let us know your comments and suggestions on this in the comment section below here on YouTube, and I hope you enjoy this exercise.